Hello and welcome back. Well, this is a sourcing video, and at the very end, I'll go over what sold. And the what sold is not enough to make a video so far. It's like 150 bucks of 6 or 7 items, one of the two. However, I did not make, sometimes I say that kind of loud because I can hear it in the echo. I did not make a video yesterday of sourcing, so I decided to kind of stay still. To me, it's still relatively local. The first stop I went to is North Randall, which has a Habitat for Humanity, which is not open on Mondays, but they also have a, I want to say it's called Value World or Thrift World. And I got an email that I just saw 50% off everything but one color or whatever it was. So I went down there. And while I was down there, I was already looking through some books and I got a few. The woman I've mentioned a couple times that I'll run into every once in a while, she is an Amazon seller and very nice. We have passing conversations as we're there. She primarily just does barcode, while I will look at barcode stuff. Primarily of the books that I buy are non-barcode. She does do non-barcode stuff, but just not as much because she doesn't really like hand typing or using the image search that AZ has. So I picked a couple books up, and then I went over to the Disc Media and found these, all but one or two of these. And then from there, I went to Cedar Road, which is, I want to say, it's not University Heights. I want to say it's Beechwood, which is a fairly affluent. Every other car is going to be a BMW, a Mercedes, something along those lines. And then I went to Mayfield, which is just the opposite. It's literally one exit up, and it's just the opposite. And I was there for 3 hours, maybe. That store, most of the time when I go to stores, it's going to be few and far between. That's why I usually say if I can get 2, 3, or 4 things from one store, and I'm going to 3, 4, 5, 6 stores, I can have enough. And as long as I'm getting 20 to 25 things, if it's going to be a bigger trip where I'm hitting 4, 5, 6 stores, as long as I can get 20 to 25 things and I'm basing my average, lower end average at 20 bucks each, that's still around or over 500 bucks for that time frame. And then if I do all the taxes and everything included, still going to be 300 for my entire time after all costs. So my net is going to be roughly 300 in more in the span of the 5-6 hours I'm gone. That can still, if we're doing the hourly thing, that's still 50 bucks an hour, give or take, right? So I say the amount per hour in different videos because it differs all the time. I'm not going to go an entirety of what it could be. So my payout, which I just saw, is going to be $14.76. How much time do I have wrapped up in all that? Or do I want to go, how much time do I have wrapped up in last week? Right. So it really varies. That's why I just go with, I need to have my payout be $1,000 a week. And if you understand eBay's payouts, if you have it set up this way, all of your shipping labels are going to come out of your payout. All of your final value fees, all your promoted fees, all your offsite promoted fees, all that is all going to come out of your accrued funds for payout. Your product cost does not, unless you're buying on eBay with the funds that you have on eBay, right? So mine is around the costs minus product cost and the actual paper label and the packaging and the box and the envelope and all that. That's not included, but it can be negligible. Like I bought some more bubble envelopes and they cost me 16 cents each, as opposed to going to Supply Hut, which when I went to order, he was out. And if you don't know, Supply Hut, which is I want to say maybe the largest or second largest in regards to what he sells for boxes and envelopes and stuff like that, is 20 minutes down the road. The owner's name is Charlie. I talked to him. There's a video, not of me talking to him, but just of a video of me being there. Well, outside. He didn't have any online. So is what I would do, I would make an order online and just send him an email saying, hey, this is just going to be for pickup. Don't charge me the shipping. And if I pay cash, I don't know if I would pay cash. So is what I would do. I would just order something online and just leave the notes. It's going to be for pickup. But the first time I went up there, I just went up there and just talked to him in the warehouse. And then his employee went and got the stuff that I wanted, which was a box of boxes for eyeglass frames and some bubble envelopes. Now, the bubble envelopes, I think, when it was said and done of what I paid for them, was like 11 cents each, which is cheaper than 16, right? But these ones that I just got are a thicker plastic, a thicker bubble. The ones I got from him before, he did tell me that they are a different variation. And the ones I had got from Supply Hut then were a bit thinner. I didn't get any complaints from anyone that anything got broken. I think most people are just glad to get what they have in a bubble envelope. Because I've got messages before saying, I'm glad you used a bubble envelope for this $12 DVD. Something along those lines. Because a lot of people will just use just Mylar. Just a standard plastic and no bubble. Sometimes I will use just the Mylar if it's an open DVD and if it's like $9-10. If it's sealed, chances are somebody will open it and use it, but I want to make sure that if it's not going to be open and used and somebody's going to have it on shelf as collectors, that it could stand less chance of it having an issue. Aside of all that, this is going to be a bit of a longer video, maybe 30 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it to that because I'm going to go over what I picked up. Well, I guess I'll do it like this. What I picked up. So this stack here is everything from probably low 30s to 100. I want to say this one is $100. This stuff here is lower, below 20, all the way up to maybe right at that 30 range. These I did not rescan, but these were not from that Goodwill. There might be one or two in here that were not from the thrift world. And then some of this other stuff. So this is what I picked up. So they're at the Goodwill on Mayfield. There were probably, if I'm calculating correctly, I'm doing this on how many there would have been. So it would probably been 120 to 150 per shelf, because some of them were going to be larger doubles, or even ones that are a 5-pack, or an 8 or 10 pack that were like this big. So and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's already 800, maybe 1,000. And their back table probably held another 6, 7, 800. 90% of them are sealed. So I will scan pretty much every single thing that's sealed, unless it's a sealed Forrest Gump, right? And I use Forrest Gump a lot. Unless it's something that I already know is a common. Now, if it read special edition or deluxe or definitive or something along those lines, yeah, I will still scan. But when it comes down to scanning, if I second guess it, it's 3 seconds for me to hit the camera again, hit barcode, scan. So when in doubt, check it out. However, this compendium of stuff that I got yesterday, especially from Mayfield, is not typical of what most stores have. However, it varies. That's why you go. And I hadn't been to Mayfield or the thrift world in a month, which is kind of surprising because I pass Mayfield frequently, but before I go to leave, I don't register. I don't look on my calendar like when was the last time I was at Mayfield, because it's a store I pass multiple times, and it's literally right off the highway. So there was the first couple you're seeing up here. There was a lot, 60 or 70 Willie Nelson CDs. I know he's been rocking in the free world. It's not Willie Nelson. Either way, Bob. How much Bob CD you're in there? Damn, I can see his face. That's the problem about it. It's probably it's not 8:30 now, but so there were a lot of Willie Nelson and a lot of larger packs like this. A lot of those. These larger packs, these multi-disc packs, not all, but they are definitely anything in the realm of a multi-disc is something that I'm definitely going to spend my time looking up, open or sealed, especially sealed. The more discs you have in there, the more likely. Now, there was one that was like a 15 disc set that was like this that sells for like $15. Not Willie Nelson, I forget exactly what it was. Now, sometimes, strangely enough, you could take if it's open, you could take some discs out and you can scan the discs in visually. And although a set is $20, you could scan and just one disc is 30. I don't know. This video is not about that. It's about this stuff. So I'm going to kind of generically go over what I got and there's only a handful that I can remember that have a really good value. First off, this Willie Nelson, all these are going to be right around 30. So if I'm going to say 30, it's going to be right around the 30 mark. And when I get into this other stack that's anywhere from just below 20, there might be some in here that are 12, 15. But when I have this many to choose from, I'm not picking $12 items. Unless they sell relatively quick. If I'm striving to find stuff, yeah, I'll pick up a $12, $13, $14 item. There could be some in this stack here that are over 30 as well. I just picked the first that I can make an equally high stack. The first ones that came up as over 30. So this Willie Nelson, we'll say over 30. This Willie Nelson, over 30. This Brahms, it's either this one or the other one that's right in my hand, in my other hand. This one, I want to say it's like 70, 80 bucks. These London distributors, made in Germany. I want to say this one came up around 70 bucks. This one, this Beethoven EMI, this one has 10 discs, another import from Holland. This one is 70, give or take. A conundrum one right here. If you just type in A Beautiful Mind or just Beautiful Mind soundtrack, not much is going to come up, which is really surprising because this is an older movie. I'm not going to squint my eyes to try to see when it was printed. But not many of these come up. I don't know if it's, even if you're typing, I didn't type in enhanced, or this is not a SBM super bit mapping. This is not an SACD super audio. This is just enhanced. So I had to go into Terapeak because when you look these up, there's going to be a couple that are going to be under 20, and then everything else is going to be over 100. When in the Terapeak, these can sell for 40, 50 bucks sealed. And keep in mind, these I pay pretty much maybe a little over $2. This Amadeus is a complete different set. It is a 24 karat, and there's another one down in here too. A 24K. It's not a original. I don't think it's original. Special edition director's cut. I don't think it's an original soundtrack. So it is not an original master recording like the Iron Butterfly one or like the other gold ones. This is still 50 to 60 bucks. Some of these numbers that I say may not be 100% true. If you were to type this up, it could come up as 40. It could come up as 90. You know, I'm just stuff that was over 30, and I'm trying to remember as best as I can on these. Because there's like 70 items. Well, that one, you know, so I don't have to really hype this one up too much. So this is Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy soundtrack, 2-disc set. These on, I want to say on a regular, they don't sell fast because there's not a whole lot of them made. These are still 40 to 50 bucks. Here's one that'll tickle your fancy, throw you off a little. This Anne Murray 3-disc set, Now and Forever. Scanning, I don't think anything came up, or maybe something did, and it was just exuberantly priced. Type in Anne Murray, Now and Forever in Terapeak, hit new, and I go by price highest first. That's going to tell me that it has sold within 3 years, and sometimes I'll look over at the year, and if it's a 24 or 25, that's going to tell me it's sold, you know, within relatively recent. But there's not many of these listed, so that's kind of another selling hint, little tip. But if there's not a lot listed and there's not much of anything sold, it's fairly safe to just go off of the 30 listings that I've gone through Terapeak in the past 3 years. It's not like it's going to get undercut over and over again. There's a lot of other type of explanation and math behind that I'm not going to explain for this video. I generically have in other videos. I think one was either way. But this is, it's safe to say that I can put it up for 100, and in some shorter span of time, I'll get a minimum of like 80 bucks for this. This John Barry, I want to say this is about 50 bucks, maybe a little more, maybe 60, or it's a different one that's down here. These 3 scores, it's a little different than a soundtrack. I hear a train coming. So at $2 each, they'll be listed individually. The specific design had to go in through Terapeak, and very, very few have sold, but they sell for around 40 bucks. I don't remember which one. I think there was just one, and then the other ones were less than that. But still, $2 a disc into stuff that's 30, 40, 50 bucks. This is very self-serving entendre here. This is an enigma. A couple listed, if I remember this one correct. Had to go into Terapeak. Not many sold. It's an older movie, probably 20 years old, maybe a little less. Again, not going to squint my eyes to find out or to read down here. I want to say one is listed. Something comes up with, I think, Transformers. A bunch come up with Transformers. When I go to list is what matters. 40 to 80 bucks, because I didn't really look more specifically. Then when I went into Terapeak Enigma Soundtracks, started scrolling down, try to find this exact picture. It may be an import. I don't think it is. But even the lower ones where the picture was easily to determine for new was still closer to 40 bucks when I got to it. Some people will post a soundtrack with the back. So I'm not looking at the back for that. So we'll just say 40 bucks, maybe 50, maybe even more. Maybe it's this CD box right here. That's the one that's very bottom. That was like 70, 80 bucks. And then if this is, then the other one, vice versa, would still be like 40, 50 bucks. But I think it was a Deco one. So this one is like 40, 50 bucks. This Merle Haggard. So yeah, people like Kenny Rogers. There we go. That's the guy's name I was thinking of. Now I don't even remember the song I was singing. So you have people like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard. There's a couple more in there. They're kind of colloquially known as the Outlaws. This is close to 100 bucks as well. So even if the pricing here on each of these that I got, even if the lower is 40 bucks, 12, 13, 14, 15, 600, of course we'll go with tentative. You know, I got to hand type and get all those numbers in there exactly. This is when I give these numbers, usually they're tentative and to the best of what my memory is. And when I'm going through this many, yesterday, I can't remember all of them. I know when I'm buying, the vast majority of the time, $15 has to be the lowest point. These ones I'm just going to go through relatively quick. It's Willie Nelson. This Willie Nelson 3-pack, I typed all three of these CDs up. Well, not just one word from each of them. And I don't remember if something came up. That may be why it was. Well, like I said, I just got the first ones that would make an even stack. So this one very well could be 30, 40, 50 bucks. Willie Nelson, keep in mind these ones are most likely going to be under 30. Comes my buddy. Willie Nelson. It's strange drunk, man. It's acting like a drunk person when you try to talk. They interrupt you. Really? Two of these Willie Nelsons, Carpenters. Two of these Rebas. This Comsa. I don't know. There'd be something of some classical. I have no idea. Arthur Braham, John Sermon, Dave Holland. I saw a Dave Holland CD not too long ago. Jolene. Dolly Parton. This is a original master recording, gold disc, SBM, super bit mapping, sealed, about 25 bucks. Still, really cool. Good movie. Tatanka. Money Rate, some more Gregorian chants, Thomas Odin, Andrea Scholl, Arvo Piat. I've sold several of his before, not really. There was a 3-disc one I sold not too long ago. I was like 40 bucks. Sequentia. This is a sealed SACD, Super Audio CD. Elvis. And a Japan import, Chronicles Best of, which I don't remember what this exactly came up as. So this may be 50 bucks, it may be 20. Again, I just scanned whatever the first handful was that made a nice stack to things that were over 30. And now down to the more typical things, typical buys. Best of Love Unlimited. And it's funny when I was talking to the woman Kim, she goes, do you ever find any video games in the CDs? And shortly after she left, like 20 seconds after she went out the door, I found this N2O, I want to say. It does have some scratches, and I can resurface it, but This is more likely right around 20 bucks without the booklet. It does have the back. The Steam packet, I remember this one, I had to go into Terapeak for it. Only one is sold and was like 30 bucks. So when I was spending a dollar, matter of fact, it was like 10.49 for 11 things I got there. So it was less than a dollar each after tax. Temptations, Soul and Funk can still sell. So if I'm seeing a lot of Soul and Funk, I'm scanning most of it. The originals, Gene Chandler, this one was like 50 bucks. John Schofield, don't remember, I think this was like 20. Johnny Hammond, this is one I had to go, I know I had to hand type it. Let's just say that it's over 20. And Isley, Jasper Isley, I've sold, this would have been in a much earlier what sold video. I have sold a Isley Jasper before, don't remember which one. So let's just say minimum 20 bucks. 92 in the Shade VHS. A couple VHS have sold in the past 90 days and they sell for 25 bucks. SAT Math DVD, right around 20. Greatest Royal Rumbles, maybe a little less than 20. Rudolph sealed widescreen, maybe right around 15. Oh, and these two audiobook things, this one's like 50 bucks. It's like 25, 30. All right, so this copy of this chemistry book, just to type in whatever the title is here or whatever I had to, maybe it was this name, Lemkin, I think. Is it Lemkin? Lemkin, like lemmings. So chemistry, Lemkin with this specific graphic on the front. This is around a $25, $30 book. This I bought just on general principle. So this is what this is called. And it looks like I'm on about 32 minutes. Good. So by the time I'm said and done, and I do some editing, because it's been pretty much non-stop talk, then I got to find the stuff that's old. So this book is called Alcohol Abuse Among Women, Special Problems and Unmet Needs, 1976. Hearing report the Subcommittee on Alcoholism and Narcotics of the Committee on Labor and Public Welfare, United States Senate, 94th Congress, second session, on examination of the special problems and unmet needs of women who abuse alcohol, September 29th, 1976. The government could be succinct. And they could just wrote women with alcohol problems. So this has a stamp from Case Western, which is a university, a pretty multi-faceted university, but not really a whole lot of medical, mainly social arts and law. So for the 50 cents, I didn't even type it up. I just got on general principle. Because if anything, I could take this and maybe other type of AANA books that I have that don't sell, or some of the Watchtower books, some of the religious books that don't sell, and I could just take them up to, and I did it before, like 2 years ago, take them up to just any one of just look up a meeting near me and just go up there, just go drop them off, be like, here's some books you guys can use. So they will get to put to use sometime. But first, I got it for 50 cents and see if it actually sells. Next is this, Ideas and Insights. So kind of like the books way when ago when you got to choose your own adventure. This book is Write Your Own Adventure. And this woman, very, very small writing, wrote her own story. And this is book 3 that she has in this. The little bit that my wife and I were just kind of very basic cursory reading, just grabbing a couple pages and cursory reading. So it turns out that this woman, we'll just call her Joe, and there was a mention in Deb. So many options. Yeah, I just watched Napoleon Dynamite a couple days ago too. Again, So the reason why I got this, not only that it's the actual personal writing, but I saw in here that she has WW 1, 2, and 3. So I was like, well, this is going to be some sort of fictional piece. So apparently, Deb, Joe, and there's a name Betty in here, which back in the 70s, women were called Bettys. But let's just say that this is a female's name, Betty. Something happened at JFK Airport. Her luggage got smashed around, and they were in a couple more pages in. We were able to figure out that they were in Italy and in Rome. And in another page, it reads in here that some Italian guys, were asking on what these American tourists are doing and if they go to shop or if they go shop. But apparently, Joe and whomever else was with her was being hit on, being more harassed by a couple of these Italian guys. Because further, this is not the page that it's on. She just turns around, just basically wanting to say, just shove off, get out, go away. And there's another page that's talking about them going shopping in Rome. And there is so it reads, I ran into a shop that had, this one she's talking about shoes. So I don't know if it's going to be the currency conversion. I'm going to best guess. I don't know. But there was a pair of shoes. She doesn't name the store. It may be within the tellings here, but she doesn't name the store. And tried them on, and they were $8,500. So in 1975, I doubt those shoes were $8,500 American, but they could have been $8,500, whatever the Italian currency is, which was still expensive. I mean, if you're already back in 1975 traveling when things were cheaper, but proportionally things were cheaper. Not because of the inflation rates now and stuff. They were just cheaper in that time frame. Right until Reaganomics kicked in is when things started to really take a unfair skew. And another part here. Oh yeah, so this actually started from January 2nd, 1995, and then the next page goes into January 3rd, and then it goes all the way to September. And September 2nd, and then another page here goes to August. And then before that is July. So this jumps around a little. This is kind of weird. July 2nd, a lot of stuff going on July 2nd. May. I'm talking way too much about this book, but I just thought it was real interesting. So if I'm able, maybe, to track down the name on here, and if it's local, be like, hey, you're what would probably be definitely, so let's just say this person would probably be in her 80s by now, assuming that she went there in her 20s. So just an interesting book, right? To kind of get an eye into what happened to somebody else and what they did. And then a book pertaining to my ancestor, which, I brought up in a couple other videos ago. So, I'm a direct descendant of Daniel Boone, or the Whitlich family. So he is Daniel Whitlich, is his original name. So on my mom's paternal side is the Whitlich side, which stems all the way from Daniel Boone. This book can vary. Most of the ones that have sold with the dust jacket, but they're anywhere. The lower end is $30 to $40. The edging, the spine, cover, all very clean. And it's 1941, and I believe that was the year of the first print. So this was less than $1. I'm going to forego picking those items, but I will do a tablet refresh. 6 for $144, that's going out. And the best price thing is that Greek and English Is it Greek and English? Hebrew and Greek Bible for 51. May 19th is when I listed that. And so 2 weeks ago. So I guess that's gonna wrap this one up. So it's primarily a sourcing video that I'm explaining here at 9 o'clock. A little past 9 now. Why I picked these things here, well, when I have 1,500 to go through and the vast majority are sealed, it's going to take time for me to go through all those, and I'm not going to be that super picky. A handful of these, yeah, I had to hand type. Yeah, there's some what we could call classical or orchestral type stuff in here. A lot of that stuff, believe it or not, sells well. The common Willie and Nelson, like who was that I got the Bob Dylan one, right? So I was up at Savers, I don't know, a handful of days ago, a week ago, and there were maybe 30 plus Bob Dylan CDs. So I grabbed all of them. That's a good way for me to get familiar with Bob Dylan stuff, especially the really good ones. And that was a good way for me to get more familiar. Now, Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings, those are kind of gimmies. I'm going to look those ones up anyhow. Willie Nelson, I'm going to look those ones up. Kind of getting too crazy. Sealed, look up almost everything. Japan imports, for the most part, just safe. It's just safe to just put in your cart anyhow. Elvis, there's a lot. There was quite a bit. Not a whole lot of Elvis. There's probably 10 Elvis. But most isn't going to be worth of a while. But it's sealed. I'm not really going to expound and explain really why. They're sealed. There's a lot there. I know I could get a lot. I did get a lot. So what can I guesstimate it at? 1,500, maybe. Total of everything, minus the tablet. Maybe. Could be 13. Could be 16, 17. And I did the calculation yesterday. I think it was 115 bucks I spent total. It was 85 and 10. No, it wasn't 85. It was more than that. It was 89. It was like 90. Either way, I'll put it in the title. So that's going to wrap that one up. Like what you heard, like what you saw, like what you learned. Thumb thinking going up, comments going down, sub share. Everything helps. Appreciate it. Thank you.